Welcome back to my market kitchen. We are in beautiful Adelaide. We're on the River Torrens, we're at Jolly's Boathouse, and I have an incredible recipe for you guys today. Cannoli would have to be one of my favourite desserts. They are the jewel of Sicily, which is very close to my heart because that's where my nonna is from. So this recipe is a family recipe. Now, there's two parts to the cannoli. There is a dough and the custard filling. So we're going to start with our custard just so it cools down really quickly. So we're just going to get rid of our whites into a bowl, and we want to just keep the egg yolks. So a very simple custard recipe or a creme de pâtissière requires egg yolks, some corn flour and milk. So our milk is already nice and warm. Just to speed up the process, you can do this in a pot, you can do it in the microwave as well if you are a little bit more time poor. So yolks straight into our bowl. We're going to go in with a bit of caster sugar just to sweeten the custard. Sicilians like everything very sweet. And then some corn flour. So this is going to help to thicken our custard and make it really, really stable and creamy and luxurious. So we're just going to whisk these eggs in. Now this is going to become quite a crumbly mixture to start with. So what we're going to do is start to pour in some of our milk, so the warm milk. And this is called tempering of the eggs. So you just want to start to slowly cook them so that when they get added into the milk, they don't cook and scramble. Alrighty, so our mixture is really, really nice and creamy and frothy. So we're going to pour that straight into our warm milk, and we're just going to whisk this. So you really want to watch the custard mixture because it is going to thicken quite quickly, and you want to make sure that every few minutes you're giving it a stir so it doesn't catch onto any of the edges. So these lemons are from the Central Market. It's actually from the Riverlands, so nice and close to the markets for us. In season, beautiful citrus. You can use oranges, you can use mandarins, you can use whatever you like. You can add some nutmeg into it. I just like lemons. It reminds me of being in Sicily. It's got that real beautiful Southern Italian feel to it. It's actually quite funny because one of the first things I learnt to make was custard because it was my favourite thing growing up. So my nonna used to make this incredible sponge cake with custard, frangelico and strawberries layered up, and it was gorgeous. And my favourite part was that she would always make extra custard because she knew how much I loved it, and I could go over after school with a tablespoon and just sit on the bench, watch her cook with a big bowl of custard. I think there's nothing like custard. It's so, so delicious. That is Nonna's kitchen right there. That is so, so good. And you can see how thick that custard is and how instant that was. That is gorgeous. So we're going to turn this off, pop it into a bowl in the fridge and just let it cool completely while we get onto our dough. So while our custard is cooling, we're going to make our dough. So I've got some plain flour in my mixing bowl, and it's all the usual culprits that go into this dough. So we've got some sugar, that's going to go straight in, 4 whole eggs and a yolk just to make it really, really rich, because I feel like with cannoli there is no point in cutting any corners, just go all in. It's got all the naughty things, but they're just so delicious. Now you can find lard in your regular supermarket, fruit and veg, any good Italian deli also has it. Now you can use butter, but this is the most traditional way of making it. We're going to go in with a good pinch of salt and then some wine. So you can use any kind of wine, either white wine or a cooking wine or a fortified, so like a masala. So the wine goes in. I'm not sure why it's in a wine glass. It's almost kind of tempting to have a little swig. So we're going to go straight into the mixer, and we're just going to mix until it forms a really nice dough. It's getting really busy down here on the River Torrens. There's kids about to go out rowing. We've got cyclists, we've got families walking past. Oh, look at the bird! Now, normally you'd let this rest for about half an hour, but I am too impatient and I want to eat these cannoli as quickly as possible. So what we'll do is we'll start rolling it out. We're going to roll it out exactly like pasta dough, so it is going to be quite soft, and we're going to wrap it around our cannoli molds. Now, I bought these from home, and these are probably the oldest cannoli molds that I have, but it's basically just a little cylinder, and we're going to wrap our dough around that and then fry it until it's really golden and crispy and bubbly and really airy, and then we can fill it with our custard. We want to add some of that egg onto the pastry. Now, we don't want the egg to touch the actual mold, only the pastry. So you've got to be really, really careful with this. And then you want to seal your dough over that seam so it doesn't break open in the cooking. Now, you want it to be quite loose so I can feel that it's moving around gently so we know it's not going to stick. While this oil is heating up, we'll just make a few more and then we can pop them in and then fry them until they're crispy and golden. Our cannoli are so nice and crispy, you can just hear it. They are perfect. We've got our custard cooled in a piping bag, and this is the best part because this is where we get to enjoy them. So just pipe in as much custard as possible. The more, the better. So fill each side just so it's coming out. And this is perfect served on a nice cold winter's day, a beautiful day like this, with a coffee, maybe a little Campari and soda like they do in Sicily. There are endless ways to enjoy these beautiful cannolis. There we have it, the most perfect Sicilian cannoli. Now, it would be rude to not have a little try. I'm just gonna dig into that custard because you all know how much I love creamy, delicious custard. That for me is a winner. It's lemony, so much icing sugar. It screams Sicily, it screams Catania. I don't have a Campari and soda, but there is a little bit of cheeky wine left, so cheers to that.